Should Green Bay fire their GM to keep their MVP?
Wouldn't bother me one bit. That's my perfect answer to that question. Wouldn't bother me one bit. Now, that's a big, big deal coming from me. Because I'm not interested in people losing their job. As far as I'm concerned, everybody that get paid, the more the merrier, okay? You got families to take care of, people to take care of, et cetera, mortgages to pay, all of that other stuff. I'm not advocating that Gutekunst be without a job. You don't need to be in Green Bay. You have a guy that is the face of the franchise and an iconic figure, one of the all-time greats, and he needs to get to a point where he says he wants out in order for you to recognize that you should have treated him with more respect, that you should have appreciated him a little bit more, that you shouldn't have treated him as if he were just another guy. And by the way, Mark Murphy shouldn't be let off the hook either, because he's the de facto, basically, chairman, the guy running. I mean, it's a publicly owned franchise, but he's the guy that's commissioned to run the franchise. He's been there. He was there when Ted Thompson's there. He was there. Now that Brian Gutekunst is there. What's the common denominator? Him, Mark Murphy, basically fostering this mentality that all of you are just parts to be utilized at our discretion. We don't particularly give a damn about you. And the reason I say that is only because of Aaron Rodgers. I don't know about anybody else. Don't care. If you've got a guy that is that great, that you put that and you shoulder that much of the responsibility towards him, and he did what he has done for you, keeping you relevant for the last decade, and on numerous occasions spanning years, he's been able to say how he feels disrespected. I told you I have it on good authority. I told y'all this before on several occasions. I've been right on the show. I have it on very good authority.
What?
Molly, when Stephen A. says on good authority, I just urge people to read between the lines.
That's right.
But just a little.
Just please do. I have it on very good authority. The man walked into their office, and they told him, shut up and play, essentially. You play, we run the organization. Now get the hell out of here. They dismissed him like that. And Teddy knows football the way that he does. And if he doesn't know, there's a whole bunch of other people. Yeah, all of y'all know. He was mistreated. He was disrespected. You don't come back from that. If you don't know how to treat people who produce for you, you shouldn't be in that position.
The short answer is, would I fire Gutekunst to keep Rodgers is yes. The short answer is yes, because Gutekunst is a good GM. I'd even say a very good GM.
We don't know that.
And, I think so. I mean, he brought
Without
in a
Aaron Rodgers, how good would they be?
He got rid of a coach who'd won a Super Bowl, but the league seemed to have passed him by. He brought in a coach. They went 13-3. Rodgers learned the system really well and then had an MVP season and went 13-3 again and played in the championship game. Took the ball out of his hand. That's a blunder. But it was better than McCarthy, I think, in recent years. And also, Gutekunst recognized that in a hard cap league, when you have a quarterback who can compensate for other deficiencies, you can spend resources elsewhere. So he built a defense. It's a well-rounded, well-built team. But I wouldn't say he's a great GM yet. He's a good one. There is a difference between good and great. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. It is harder to replace Aaron Rodgers with someone than Gutekunst with someone. So the short answer is, yeah. If I had good information that I could keep Aaron Rodgers by getting rid of the GM, I'd get rid of the GM. I just think that, Stephen A., what you're really talking about is Gutekunst, his moves tell me he had a lot of respect for Rodgers, the player. But what he didn't respect was Rodgers, the person. And Rodgers feels disrespected as a person. But I think there are ways to fix that. As I said, you come with your hat in one hand and a contract in the other. You eat your hat in front of them. Sorry, the Happy Gilmore to Chubbs. You're smart, I'm stupid. You're right, I'm wrong. You're tall, I'm short. Whatever you want to do. You're good looking, I'm not very attractive. And please take the most money ever guaranteed to a quarterback. I think at a certain point, it requires humility from Gutekunst to keep this together. And if he shows enough of it, I think it could work.
Yeah, I'm with you, Max, on that in terms of good, not great, because A great GM would have realized how things change in this NFL landscape, and now sometimes you don't do what's best for the organization, you do what's best for the quarterback, because you got to keep these guys happy. You got to keep these guys respected. You got to know about their feelings and what your moves and what your words will do, because what they realize is this: they know they have power. And you heard Rodgers talk about legacy and those type of things, and he is very aware about where he is in terms of the all-time greats, and he's very aware of what happened to one of those all-time greats in terms of Brett Favre, the way that he left, because he was the one that was brought in. So you try to bring in someone else, and then all of a sudden it's unfixable. And Stephen A. is also right, because, I mean, in a way, Gutekunst has to go, but I say this, it may not be enough. Because the problem is also the other quarterback that's in the room. It's so messed up there now. You've got a quarterback that feels disrespected, but you also have this other first-round quarterback that you traded up for that's there. So what do you do with him? Because I don't think Rodgers is going there if Love is there. Now, Rodgers has a good relationship with him. I mean, he talked about it with Kenny Mayne last night. Loves the kid. He'll probably mentor the kid no matter where he goes. Good relationship, but I just can't have you in the same room as me because this is my job. And that's how these quarterbacks, these alpha males, these guys that have memories like elephants that never forget, that's how they handle these things, and they take things personally. And so Rodgers is definitely that man that I think it may be too messed up. He's out of there. It'd have to take a lot of what you're talking about, Max. Come on, bring in Julio Jones in here, get rid of Gutekunst, give me a public apology, trade Jordan Love. It would take a lot. But Rodgers looked like a man that was done with Green Bay.
You're damn right he's done, and he should be done. And this is the thing, and you can appreciate what I'm about to say, Teddy, because I'm about to say something that's near and dear to your heart. We got too many damn people in the NFL thinking they Bill Belichick. You're not him.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.